Though he had brief periods of privacy, Yogi Ji was usually engaged in fielding a seamlessly endless stream of visitors who came for his darshan at his home or in the spacious flagstone courtyards of the big temple. Once, Mrs. Gangu, the wife of a retired major general and belonging to a rich family, came with her son Vivek to the ashram to seek the blessing from Sri Bhagavan's shrine for the success of Vivek's soon-to-start advertising agency. After puja was done at Sri Bhagavan's shrine, she said that she had heard a lot about a saint living in Tiruvannamalai named Yogi Ramsuratkumar. She wondered whether they could meet with him. I took them to Saniti Street. Swami received them, saying, "What can this beggar do for Gangu Ma?" She showed Vivek and prayed for Swami's blessing on Vivek for his new advertising agency. Yogi Ji ignored him and asked, "Does Vivek have brothers and sisters?" She replied, "Yes, Swami, an elder sister. But Swami, what about Vivek?" Again, Yogi Ji ignored her and pleading and asked, "What is her name?" "Kalyani, Swami. But Swami, what about Vivek?" "Is she married?" He continued to ignore her. "She is married, Swami. But Vivek needs..." But no matter what, Yogi Ji persisted asking about the sister. "Where is your Kalyani? Tell this beggar, how is Kalyani now?" That broke the dam of resistance in Gangu Ma. She started crying profusely. "Swami, Kalyani is now living only with us in Mukhara. Her marriage was a failure. She was ill-treated by her husband's family. My husband and I tried our level best to patch up matters, but could not succeed. Her in-laws are stubborn." With abundant compassion, Yogi Ji said, "Amma, Kalyani should lead a happy life. This beggar pleads with you and your husband too. Please go again to them, apologize, make amends, make Kalyani live happily with her husband. Next time, you should bring the good news of Kalyani living with her husband to this beggar, because Father's blessings are on Kalyani and on every member of your family." Gangu Ma did as told. Within a few months, she came back, this time with her husband, and gave the good news to Yogi Ji. And surprise of surprises, not only was Kalyani happily back with her husband, but she had conceived. Every member in her family was happy. When both the parents thanked Yogi Ji profusely, Swami raised his hands and said, "It is Father, Amma. Father alone blesses. This beggar does nothing. Father alone exists." Another time, I was seated alone with Swami. A worried-looking lady came and prostrated to him. It was obviously her first visit. Yogi Ji asked her, "What can this beggar do for you, Amma?" She replied, "Swami, I have come from a far-off place near Coimbatore. For the past 7 or 8 years, I have been trying without success to get my daughter married. It has been many years since her father passed away. I would like you to bless her so that she gets married soon." Yogi Ji asked, "What is the name of your daughter?" And she replied, "Kamala, Swami. We live in a very remote village. and life is very burdensome. Swami, if Kamala doesn't get married, I don't know what I will do. Yogi-ji was visibly moved. He went into silence. He then looked up, looked down, looked over the lady's head, all the time gesturing with raised hands. This went on for some time. Though the lady sat restlessly, it was a divine sight for me to see Yogi-ji go into a mystical ecstasy. I started offering prayers to Yogi-ji within my heart. Suddenly, Yogi-ji spoke. Amma, Kamala will get married on 7th February. And Father says everything will be all right and that the marriage will take place in a grand manner. He gave her fruits, and I could see that she was very pleased. The lady took leave and left, immensely satisfied and smiling widely. This was sometime in November or December. And on the next April, when I was seated with Yogi-ji, the same lady came in and happily prostrated. She said, I came to do puja in Arunachaleswara. After finishing, I hurried and came to prostrate to you, Swami. I am rushing to catch the bus. Yogi-ji looked at her with recognition and asked, How is Kamala, Amma? The lady answered, Kamala got married and is happy, Swami. When did the marriage take place, Amma? On 7th February, Swami. She was restless and in a hurry to rush out. Yogi-ji gave her fruits as prasad. After she went away, Yogi-ji turned to me and said, Look at this strange thing, Ganesa. People come and ask this beggar for favors. This beggar sends their prayers to Father. It is Father who answers their prayers and not this beggar. When their prayer is fulfilled, they do not even have the courtesy to inform this beggar so. Does not the beggar have the responsibility to thank Father? What to do, Ganesa? It was then that I recollected what had happened on that day when Swami specifically told the lady that Kamala would get married on 7th February. And that was exactly what had happened. But a doubt rose in me, and I said, Did Swami, through his power, make it happen on that specified day? Or did he foresee that it would happen on that day? I put this doubt before Yogi-ji, and he said to me, Ganesa, have you read the works of Shakespeare? And I said, No, Swami. Antony and Cleopatra was a non-detailed text in college, except that I have not read any other works of Shakespeare. You have not read Othello? So you do not know in which act of the play Othello kills his wife? Now, this beggar has read it. This beggar therefore knows that in the 6th act, Othello kills his wife. That's all. Don't ask me any more questions, Ganesa. His answer surprised me and at the same time satisfied me. Yogi-ji then went into deep silence. To see him in that state was truly a divine sight indeed. He smiled and gave me prasad. One day I was seated in the presence of Yogi-ji, along with the famous music director Ilayaraja. No one was permitted to come in, though there was a large crowd waiting outside. Yogi-ji commented, They have all come to see this beggar, but to see the king is who they really have come for, the Raja, you. He asked the Ilayaraja to stand at the entrance and give darshan to the crowd and come back, which he did. After some time, Yogiji noticed a lady standing some distance away and hesitating to come closer. Yogiji looked at me and said, "Ganesa, Nagama is standing outside. Will you go and call her in?" She was a sweeper working at the ashram, though the society of those days treated her as a low-caste, untouchable woman. I had no hesitation in calling her in. She was reluctant, and so I went out and brought her in. I told her to prostrate to Swami, which she happily did. Yogiji asked her what she wanted. Nagama, with tears in her eyes, appealed to Yogiji to give protection to her family members. Yogiji made her sit in front of him and looked steadily at her. It so happened that she sat near Ilaraja. Like a lightning flash, the scene took me years back to the experience that Balarama Redayar once had in the old hall in Sri Bhagavan's presence. Balarama had told me that one day when he entered the hall, he was wonderstruck to witness a ruler of a small state in North India and a retired old sweeper seated together. It was a festival day and the hall was filled with devotees. But Balarama remembered a sloka in the great epic, the Ramayana, wherein King Rama was extolled with the words, "Lord Rama did not distinguish between a king and a low-caste person. His heart treated them all equally." Balarama Reddy concluded, "Sages come and live in our midst only to prove the import and truth of the ancient texts." How true it is. I too was witness to the same splendor in the presence of Yogi Ramsuratkumar that day. This, of course, was from my point of view. From Nagama's point of view, Yogiji instantly lifted and dissolved her sorrow, sadness, and suffering by making her sit, looking at her, and giving her his blessings and plenty of fruits as prasad.